In 2055, a revolutionary company introduces time travel safaris, allowing adventurous clients to hunt dinosaurs in the prehistoric era. To protect the timeline, the company enforces strict rules. Clients must follow a designated path and can only hunt specific dinosaurs that are destined to die naturally. Additionally, all items must remain in the past, ensuring no trace is taken back to the future. Today's group consists of a middle-aged man and his daughter, accompanied by their guide, Dr. Travis, and a few company staff members. Each participant dons a high-tech suit that monitors their health and records their experience. As they reach their hunting location, Travis emphasizes the importance of patience, explaining that their weapons won't fire until he gives the signal. Suddenly, a deafening roar echoes through the jungle, and the ground trembles under the weight of a colossal dinosaur charging toward them, uprooting trees in its path. Fear grips the clients as they anxiously await their chance to fire, but Travis insists they hold their ground. When the beast draws near, he finally gives the command, and they all pull the triggers in unison. The creature collapses, sinking into the murky swamp. Back in the present, the thrill of the hunt is relived at an after-party hosted by the company's charismatic CEO, Charles, showcasing the recorded adventure for all to see. However, Travis opts out of the party, remaining in his lab to focus on refining the machine's AI, known as Tammy. His solitude is interrupted by Clay, a colleague from the Department of Temporal Regulation, the government agency responsible for ensuring that time-traveling companies adhere to safety protocols. Shortly after, Charles bursts in, eager to pull Travis away to the festivities, wanting him to impress the wealthy clients with his scientific jargon. Meanwhile, the clients are enjoying their souvenirs, the special suits they wore during the hunt, and a disc featuring a recording of their thrilling adventure. Just as the celebration is in full swing, Dr. Sonia crashes the party, unleashing a torrent of red wine on the guests and branding it as blood. As security attempts to escort her out, she vehemently protests, warning everyone about the perils of time travel and the disastrous impact it will have on the future. Travis, intrigued and concerned, follows Sonia outside, where he learns that she was the original inventor of the time travel technology. She reveals that Charles manipulated her into signing over the patent through a dubious funding agreement. Sonia passionately argues that the time safari will have catastrophic consequences, leaving Travis conflicted about his involvement. To clarify his stance, he invites her to a lab in the nearby zoo, where he demonstrates a lion hologram. As the majestic hologram flickers to life, Travis explains that he works for Charles to study the DNA of extinct animals. Since direct sampling during hunts is prohibited, he utilizes remote DNA readings to analyze the prehistoric creatures. This insight deepens the conversation between them, raising ethical questions about the company's practices and the potential fallout of their actions. Eventually, Travis gathers enough information from the remote DNA readings to reconstruct entire DNA sequences, enabling the potential revival of extinct species. While he believes that their controlled hunts, targeting only those creatures destined to die of natural causes, represent a way to alternate history responsibly, Sonia vehemently argues that this will only lead to chaos and endanger the future. Meanwhile, back at the company lab, a careless employee inadvertently drops several cartridges of frozen liquid nitrogen used as bullets during the hunts. The container shatters, and despite the nitrogen leaking out, he obliviously places it back into the supplies machine without realizing the consequences of his actions. The next day, two new clients, Christian and Ted, arrive eager for their hunting experience. Charles excitedly escorts them to the lab, where Travis introduces the groundbreaking technology. He shocks Charles by revealing that the entire operation was developed by Sonia, a revelation that leaves Charles visibly unsettled. As the clients prepare for their adventure, they receive a demonstration on using the specially designed guns that utilize frozen liquid nitrogen as bullets, which dissolve shortly after being fired to ensure that no evidence remains in the past. Travis emphasizes the stringent rules. They must stick to the designated path, avoid stepping off it, and absolutely refrain from altering anything in the timeline. After a series of mandatory safety briefings, the clients receive special injections to ensure their well-being during the trip. Once everyone is suited up, they step into the time machine, tightly secured to ensure that the particle beam captures every single cell accurately. As the lights begin to spin around them, they feel a strange sensation, and within seconds, they find themselves transported to the prehistoric past. Walking cautiously along the artificial path, Ted suddenly becomes startled by a movement in the bushes and instinctively attempts to shoot, only to realize that his gun isn't operational yet. The creature that startled him is just a delicate butterfly that flutters away, leaving him embarrassed as the employees reprimand him, reminding everyone that the guns are disabled to prevent accidents. Upon reaching the designated hunting spot, the excitement quickly turns to panic as a massive dinosaur appears on the horizon. However, Travis's gun malfunctions, leaving the other weapons inactive. In a frenzy, Marcus grabs Travis's gun and starts attempting to fix it, but he urgently needs more time. Thinking fast, Travis pulls out his flashlight, flashing it to grab the dinosaur's attention. He then starts sprinting down the path, shouting for the others to hide. The clients scramble for cover as the dinosaur lunges at Travis, narrowly missing him as he falls just out of its reach. In the chaos, Jenny is also nearly caught as the dinosaur snaps at her, but Travis swiftly redirects the creature's focus back to himself with the flashlight. Just as the situation becomes dire, Marcus manages to repair the gun and hurls it toward Travis. With a swift catch, Travis drops the flashlight and takes aim, firing the gun just a few times to bring the dinosaur down. The tension eases as they stand over the fallen beast, their hearts racing from the close call. As the flashlight rolls perilously down the road, Jenny instinctively lunges and catches it just in time, preventing it from falling off the artificial path. After a brief moment to regroup, the team confirms that no protocols were violated during the hunt, allowing them to proceed with their departure. However, none of them notice the ominous muddy footprint imprinted on the road, a subtle sign of the chaos that may be unfolding. Back in the present, the clients are irate, threatening to sue Charles for the perilous experience they faced. Seizing the moment, Charles employs his silver-tongued manipulation, downplaying their fears with charming words. He reminds them that rather than a scripted hunt, Ted and Christian faced a genuinely dangerous situation, making their experience far more thrilling than any previous clients. Gradually, the duo calms down, accepting a drink as the tension dissipates. Outside, a strange gust of wind sweeps through the city, briefly flickering the lights as it passes. That evening, Travis returns home, feeling an unusual heat in the air. The next morning, temperatures continue to rise, and news broadcasts report alarming findings of numerous dead fish washing ashore. Scientists announce a significant spike in UV levels, and Travis notices that his houseplant has inexplicably bloomed overnight. On his way to work, he stumbles upon a crowd gathered around a wall, all mesmerized by a strange plant that has inexplicably broken through with incredible force. The murmurs of confusion and awe fill the air, but Travis has little time to ponder this mystery. Moments later, he and his team are preparing to take new clients back to the past. As they arrive at the hunting site, they are met with shock. The dinosaur is still lying dead exactly where they left it, an unsettling reminder that something has changed in their world. Suddenly, the distant volcano erupts, sending plumes of ash high into the sky and triggering a frantic scramble for safety. The team races back toward the portal, and just as the ash begins to descend, Travis and Jenny leap through the time portal, narrowly escaping the chaos behind them. Once safely back in the present, they gather to discuss the strange events of the day, speculating that Tammy might have miscalculated their entry point by 5 minutes. However, the AI confidently reassures them that she sent them to the correct coordinates. In the midst of the confusion, Clay announces that the facility will be closed until further investigations can be conducted, refusing to bow to Charles' attempts to manipulate him into keeping operations running. He makes it clear that he will report to the government, disregarding Charles' protests. Soon, Tammy is powered down, and the lab fills with government agents, adding to the tension. Travis suspects that a mistake was made during their last trip, but Charles dismisses his concerns, treating them as mere paranoia. Frustrated, Travis hails a cab to head home, but the ride is abruptly interrupted when a massive hole suddenly opens in the middle of the street. An oncoming car tumbles into the gaping void, and Travis's cab swerves to avoid it, crashing into outdoor cafe tables. Fortunately, pedestrians manage to leap out of the way just in time, and Travis emerges from the wreckage unharmed. Curious about the anomaly, he approaches the hole and discovers that it was caused by fast-growing plants, their roots aggressively breaking through the pavement. The implications of this unexpected phenomenon weigh heavily on him. Determined to find answers, Travis heads to Sonia's building, only to find that plants have also overtaken the entrance door. As he makes his way to her apartment, he encounters a group of disgruntled tenants gathered at her door, protesting about the invasive plants that are creeping into their homes and blaming Sonia for the chaos. The tension is palpable as the residents express their frustration, their voices rising in accusation against the very scientist who once warned them about the dangers of tampering with nature. A frustrated Sonia flings open the window and brandishes a gun, threatening the gathered tenants to disperse. They quickly scatter, leaving Travis standing outside. He attempts to talk to her, but his words fall on deaf ears. As he turns to leave, he notices a delivery van from a garden supply service parked nearby. Seizing the opportunity, he takes Sonia's order and pretends to be a delivery worker to gain entry into her apartment. Once inside, Travis is taken aback by the sheer volume of plants. Her apartment has transformed into a dense jungle, but the greenery seems oddly benign at first glance. Just as he begins to take in his surroundings, Sonia recognizes him and mentions that she's been expecting him. She gestures for him to follow her upstairs, where she makes him look through a window. Travis gasps in shock at the sight before him, a translucent wave rippling across the entire city, a phenomenon so disorienting it sends him stumbling back down to the lower floor. Sonia names it a time wave, and before they can process the implications, they hear frantic screams echoing through the building. When they rush to the door, they are met with a horrific sight. One of the neighbors is covered in a mass of bugs, which are now swarming the corridor. Panic sets in as Travis and Sonia retreat back into her apartment, only to find that more bugs have infiltrated her space as well, The creatures start crawling up Sonia's body, and in a moment of quick thinking, Travis tosses a bag of fertilizer onto the floor for her to stand on, hoping to give her some respite. As Sonia shakes off the relentless bugs, Travis acts fast, breaking a nearby pipe to unleash a torrent of water that creates a temporary path through the writhing mass of insects. The water splashes against oxygen tanks scattered throughout the apartment, and a spark ignites, illuminating the room with impending danger. Realizing the explosion is imminent, they make a break for it, sprinting out of the apartment just in time to leap off the building as it erupts behind them, the force of the blast throwing them clear of the destruction. They land in a roll on the ground, narrowly escaping the inferno that consumes Sonia's once peaceful home. Travis and Sonia miraculously survive the fall by landing on a massive tree that has inexplicably sprouted outside her building. As they take a moment to catch their breath, they survey the devastation surrounding them. The city lies in ruins, a stark contrast to the vibrant place they once knew. Sonia explains that changes made in the past don't immediately alter the future. Instead, they create a ripple effect that unfolds slowly over time. The transformation began in their city, but soon it would spread globally. First, the plants would change, then the animals, and ultimately, humans would be affected, potentially leading to alterations as minor as gaining an extra eye or as severe as extinction. Determined to rectify the situation, Travis and Sonia head to the company with a clear plan. They need to travel back to the moment when Christian and Ted signed up for the hunt to prevent any mistakes from happening. Initially, Clay resists their plan, but Charles quickly counters, reminding him that if they don't fix this mess, they will both face dire consequences. Faced with the looming threat of disaster, Clay reluctantly agrees. Tammy is reactivated, and Sonia works diligently to minimize any margin of error in the calculations before Travis prepares to embark on the journey alone. However, to his surprise, instead of being transported to the dinosaur era, he finds himself in a vast desert. Just as he gathers his bearings, a group of Native Americans on horseback nearly gallops over him. Instinctively, Travis drops to the ground, narrowly avoiding the thundering hooves as the riders race past him. Once the dust settles, he stands up and realizes that they are fleeing from the time wave, a tangible manifestation of the chaos he and Sonia had inadvertently set in motion. The urgency of the situation becomes all too clear, and Travis knows he must find a way to navigate this unfamiliar time and return to the pivotal moment in their recent past before it's too late. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Travis quickly crosses back through the portal to return to the present and warns everyone about the impending time wave. Unfortunately, it's too late. The wave crashes into the lab, sending everyone flying and destroying most of the machines while shutting down the power. Miraculously, no one is injured, and the backup generator kicks in, providing some light in the chaos. As they catch their breath, they look around to see that the lab has been overrun by plants, a vivid indication of the crisis that has spread throughout the city. Sonia deduces that her time machine cannot jump through a time wave, which explains why Travis was unable to return to the Jurassic period. The wave creates a series of rings around each time era, and they are currently situated outside of them. While Sonia works furiously to modify Tammy to navigate through the wave, the rest of the team obsessively replays the recordings of their last hunt from various angles, searching for any mistakes that could have led to this disaster. Hours pass, and frustration mounts as they fail to find anything amiss. Finally, Marcus discovers their crucial mistake. They returned from their trip weighing 1.3 grams more than when they left. This anomaly suggests that someone must have taken something back with them. Confused, the team considers the implications since the time machine is equipped with a biofilter designed to prevent any organic matter from being transported. In a moment of forced honesty, Charles reluctantly admits that he had turned off that filter long ago to cut costs, claiming it used too much energy. Clay expresses his surprise, insisting he had no knowledge of this decision, but Charles's defensive reaction suggests otherwise. The tension in the room escalates as everyone grapples with the realization that Charles's negligence could have catastrophic consequences, fueling both anger and fear among the team as they contemplate their next steps. The team diligently scans all the equipment in the lab for any signs of what might have been taken, but the results come back negative. This leads them to the realization that the object must be on the client's suits. After hours of brainstorming and testing, Sonia finally hatches a possible solution. She can send Travis back to the year before their mistake occurred, a time when the time waves didn't exist yet. This way, he can use a slingshot maneuver to reach the precise moment they need without the interference of the waves. However, this jump will consume a significant amount of energy, leaving him with only about 20 seconds to fix whatever went wrong. To maximize this brief window, they need to determine exactly what happened during the hunt. With a renewed sense of urgency, the team begins gearing up for their expedition to track down the clients. Sonia cautions everyone that the plants and animals have been evolving differently for millions of years, so they must remain vigilant for any evolved creatures, particularly dinosaurs that may be lurking nearby. They set out in the middle of the night, navigating through the park. The atmosphere is tense, and their senses are heightened. Suddenly, they hear a noise in the darkness, and a shot rings out. Fortunately, it turns out to be just a chameleon-like creature that quickly scurries away. But their relief is short-lived. A thunderous roar echoes through the trees, prompting them to move quickly deeper into the park. As they progress, they come across massive cobwebs stretching between the trees, along with strange, oversized paw prints pressed into the ground. The atmosphere thickens with dread as they continue their trek, listening intently for any signs of danger. Another deep roar resonates in the air, and before they can react, a thick vine lashes out from the shadows, ensnaring Marcus. Sharp thorns pierce his skin, and he lets out a gasp of pain before the vine abruptly drops him to the ground. The team is thrown into chaos, scrambling to regroup and protect each other as they realize they are not just hunting for answers. They are now prey in a dangerous game of survival against whatever evolved creature is lurking in the darkness. Desperation drives the duo as they scour the area for food, but their search is quickly interrupted by the looming threat of the baboons, which have now returned in force. Travis, sensing the danger, sprints into the apartment building and immediately takes down the first baboon with a precise shot to its soft spot. He readies his weapon for a second attack, but the next baboon, startled by the commotion, vanishes into the shadows before he can fire. Realizing they can't stay outside, the team enters the building and begins their frantic search for survivors. Inside, they are met with a harrowing sight. Plants have overtaken the space, and refugees huddle in every corner, overwhelmed by the chaos. They soon find Ted in a heated argument with a neighbor over a fire that's been started in the room. Ted insists he didn't step off the designated path during his hunt, but the evidence suggests otherwise. The team quickly retrieves Ted's suit from the closet and scans it thoroughly, but the results come back empty, indicating that whatever was taken isn't with him. They realize they need to track down Christian next. Ted explains that Christian's wife kicked him out, and he's now living in his office downtown. Determined to find him, the team decides to steal a car from the building's parking lot to make the trip faster and safer. As they make their way to the vehicle, a menacing creature swoops too close for comfort, forcing them to quickly duck and cover, but they manage to escape its attention. Once in the car, they breathe a sigh of relief and navigate their way to Christian's office. Sonia and Travis decide to head upstairs to look for Christian, while Lucas and Jenny stay behind to protect the car. As they climb the staircase, they notice the walls are wrapped in venomous vines that pulse with an unsettling energy. The scene becomes increasingly grim as they encounter numerous bodies littering the floor, victims of the venom's effects, which appear to have driven them into madness, resulting in deadly conflicts among themselves. Just as they absorb the horrifying sight, an old man suddenly lunges out from the shadows, brandishing a weapon and aiming it directly at them, ready to defend himself against what he perceives as a threat. The old man, realizing he's out of bullets, quickly abandons his position and bolts away, leaving Travis and Sonia momentarily stunned. Seizing the opportunity, Travis shoots open a door, bursting into the room where Christian is holed up. However, Christian, panicked and disoriented, immediately opens fire on them. Travis and Sonia duck for cover, waiting for a break in the gunfire before cautiously approaching. As they get closer, they notice Christian's wild eyes and erratic movements. He's clearly infected. When they inquire about his suit, Christian spirals into another frenzy, racing around the apartment and accidentally shooting a neighbor in the corridor who was trying to escape the chaos. The situation grows increasingly tense as Travis carefully sneaks around the room, searching for a way to subdue Christian without further escalating the violence. Cornered and terrified, Christian suddenly makes a desperate decision to self-delete, leaving Travis and Sonia reeling. Afterward, they search the apartment thoroughly and finally uncover the root of the disaster. Christian had stepped on a butterfly during the hunt, and its body was now lodged in the sole of his boot. Realizing the implications of this, Travis and Sonia rush back to the parking lot, where they find Jenny and Lucas struggling to fend off a swarm of massive flying beasts. Bullets ring out as they attempt to keep the creatures at bay, but the situation looks dire. Just as the team manages to leave in the car, the flying animals take chase, with one especially aggressive beast breaking the rear window in a flurry of feathers and claws. Jenny and Lucas quickly utilize the newly created hole to fire back, shooting through the ceiling in an attempt to fend off their attackers. A few of the creatures drop from the air, but the battle takes a harrowing turn when one of the beasts manages to break through the roof and snatch Lucas, hauling him away into the sky. With despair starting to set in, the team is nearly out of hope when suddenly the time wave surges into the area, enveloping the car and sending it hurtling forward, right through the front doors of the company's lab. The impact is jarring, but miraculously, everyone emerges unscathed. Regaining their composure, the trio quickly heads into the lab, driven by a sense of urgency as they realize that time is running out and they must fix the catastrophic consequences of their actions. As the team surveys the chaotic scene inside the lab, they're met with a shocking sight. The room is overrun with plants, and the lights flicker ominously as power remains cut. In the flooded water, Charles floats lifelessly, a grim reminder of the disaster that has unfolded. Sonia realizes that without power, she can't operate any of the machinery, but she snatches Tammy's hard drive, a glimmer of hope amidst the devastation. She reveals that there's still a portal at her old university lab, and that could be their way out. Travis scours the lockers for his suit, discovering Clay huddled inside one, terrified as he hides from a group of baboons sleeping precariously on the ceiling. Clay initially refuses to join the team on their mission, fearing for his life. But as the others leave, he changes his mind, desperate to escape his hiding spot. Unfortunately, the noise of his movement wakes the baboons, and they swiftly encircle him, cutting off any chance of escape. Meanwhile, the trio, Travis, Sonia, and Jenny, press on and make their way to the subway station, carefully navigating the flooded tracks. Unbeknownst to them, a menacing creature stalks them from the shadows. They soon come upon a derailed train and decide to crawl inside to cross it, but they're met with a locked door. Before they can turn back, the ceiling above gives way, causing a massive concrete slab to crash down on the other car, effectively sealing them inside. As water begins to rise rapidly around them, panic sets in. An aquatic creature breaks a window, its monstrous form slithering inside as it lunges for Jenny. The desperate struggle escalates when the water begins to fill the car, prompting Sonia and Travis to take a deep breath and dive beneath the surface. Travis quickly fires at the window, but as the creature bursts in, it's clear their options are running out. Sonia manages to swim through the shattered glass, but when Travis pulls his trigger, his gun clicks empty. There are no more bullets left. With time slipping away and the water rapidly engulfing them, Travis must think fast as he searches for an alternative way to escape. The creature thrashes violently, and the urgency of their situation becomes painfully clear. Survival now hinges on their ability to work together and think on their feet, or they may become the next victims of this nightmarish world. Travis sprints down the path, his heart racing as he reaches Christian just in time. He grabs his arm and yanks him back, narrowly preventing him from stepping on the delicate butterfly. Christian yells in surprise, witnessing the surreal sight of Travis beginning to fade away as the timeline corrects itself. The world around them shifts, and Travis feels a surge of relief knowing he's averted disaster. Back in the present, Jenny turns to Clay, urgency in her voice. "Turn on the biofilter," she commands, watching intently as the butterfly flutters away, signaling that they have successfully fixed their mistake. The tension eases as the group breathes a collective sigh of relief. When they return to the present, the atmosphere is calm, and the chaos of their previous adventures feels like a distant memory. Jenny hands the recording disc to Travis, her expression one of determination. "Here's the proof we need to bring the company down," she assures him. Travis takes the disc, a sense of purpose igniting within him. Leaving the lab, Travis walks through the city, now blissfully unaware of the chaos that almost ensued. Everything looks normal, and life continues as usual, a stark contrast to the turmoil he just experienced. He arrives at Sonia's apartment, knocking on the door with resolve. When she opens it, he presents her with the disc. "This is it, Sonia. We can finally expose them." As they exchange determined glances, the screen fades out, prompting viewers to subscribe and turn on notifications. "Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this," a voiceover chimes in. "Thanks for watching." The credits roll, leaving the audience on the edge of their seats, eagerly anticipating the next thrilling adventure.